Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Paula, your host and the Landscapers coach. And today I'm talking about how you manage performance in your business and how you set standards in your business. So, if this is something that you might be interested in, something that you may struggle with, something that you've been thinking of but haven't put into place yet, then this episode is made for you. So, let's go to the show.
As the co-founders of the Landscaper Circle, we help you get more money, time and freedom to become limitless. Through our experiences as fellow landscapers and our tried and tested methods, if you want help with your marketing, managing or growing your business, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're a landscaper, garden designer or supplier to the industry, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show.
Hello, guys. Welcome to this week's episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. How the devil are you? Now, I'm happy because we have some sunshine. I don't know where you are in what part of the world you're in, what part of the UK you're in, but we have some sunshine down south. It's lovely. I've actually been wearing flip-flops today. It's a little bit cold, but I'm going with it. I'm hoping it will attract more sunshine, more dry weather, and the ability to finish jobs, crack on with jobs, and get some more inquiries through the door. Let me know how it's going for you guys. And if you're having some sunshine and seeing the benefits of that in your landscaping business. But today, I digress. I am talking about setting standards in your business and monitoring performance. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is just yesterday, I sat down with my wonderful savior, saving grace, amazing person, Annmaree, who's my admin assistant. She is literally like an office manager, come HR, come finance, come admin, come everything type person. And she has been a godsend in my business. And that's one thing I wanted to share with you because I think many of us think that having extra staff or having an outsourced person, because she is a contractor, she's not on the payroll, she is a subcontractor in essence, but having that outsourced has massively reduced the load on me in this business. It's massively helped with implementing some systems and processes and also opened up a lot more communication channels between the teams. And actually, she's helped me on lots of different ways to improve the business. So actually, although it's an extra cost to my business, the return on investment is vast. And part of her role has been to work on the finance and accounts with our accountant, because we obviously do have an accountant and payroll team as well here. But essentially, what it's made me be able to do is look at financial performance in the blink of an eye, basically pulling off a zero report, which she does. And these sorts of things really get put to the wayside when you are fully involved in your business. You can sometimes go, oh, look at that another time. Oh, I don't know where to find it. I don't know what to do with that information. Where is the information, et cetera, et cetera. And so having someone that is really well versed in zero in the first place, and she loves her spreadsheet, means that she knows where to find all these answers to my questions. And then we can work on implementing some changes in the business. And one of the things that I wanted to drop on the podcast with is something called KPIs, or key performance indicators. And it's something that I've been thinking about in the business for a long time, because as you grow and you get more teams, you can feel like you're losing control of your business. You can feel like it's all going a little bit out of control. I feel it all the time when we're in a growth period in the business and we get more staff on board, because essentially all you're doing is escalating the need to manage and keep an eye on things. Now, for me, finance is top priority. So sales generation and, most importantly, profit is really key to my business. It is key to every business. It's important. If you don't have the sales and don't have the profits, your business is not successful and it's going to run into a lot of problems. Now, the only way you can keep an eye on this is by looking at your figures all the time, by running your cash flow forecast, by setting some targets to manage yourself by, but also introducing key performance indicators to your teams that you have. Now, I was looking at ours in our business, and I thought I'd share it with you guys so that if you wanted to do something similar in your business, you can. If you think it's a crock of shit, turn the podcast off and carry on with your life. However, what I find is at the moment, we haven't got any set standards. So I don't ask the teams to bring in a set amount of money or jobs or projects. It just comes in, they do it, we move on. Recently, we've introduced more rigorous job costing. So it's been something that's been going on for a few months now. But since Annmaree came on board, it's part of her job to go through job costings with the managers. So essentially, Mike, myself, and Sean. And the idea is she can look at any one project, and by taking all the expenses into account, the labor costs and all of that, she can see if what we quoted was anywhere near correct. As in, did we make enough profit? Did we make any profit? Did we break even? Why? And then obviously what's most important is, even if you broke even or made a loss, the important questions to ask is why, and start to investigate. And a very interesting conversation we had yesterday when we were looking at a particular job costing, the reason we didn't make as much profit as we should have done it was a drop of 10%, was that although the labor was correct, the amount of days that we'd put down or hours that we'd put down, the materials were obviously correct, that's what we had. What we hadn't accounted for, or what the guys hadn't accounted for when they costed it, was the logistics. So rather than it was, say, a day at a job doing X, Y, and Z, it actually was a day and a half, because the day before they were going to collect the plants, they were driving to the place to put the plants there, they then had to drive back and get some other bits, etc., etc. So they hadn't factored in the extra cost of labor to do that, the extra fuel cost, and therefore it impacted on the profit. But it's good because then we can dissect why, and then we can look forward to the next job and go, hang on a minute, that's the cost of the labor to do the job, but what about, do we have to go and collect anything, or are we going to get it delivered? What is the logistics behind this job? What do we need? Do we need the tipper truck? Do we need a small truck? How many men, etc.? So you can start asking the questions to work out where things are going wrong, and then obviously mitigate that by changing the way you do things and looking at the jobs in a different way. So as part of this whole analysis of my business, that's the phase I'm in at the moment, is analysing everything in the business in order to put in better systems, processes, and move forward in a more profitable, more productive, more efficient way, is key performance indicators. And I've just based it on, now you can have lots of different key performance indicators, and it's essentially, what do you want someone to do? So if you ran a team of customer service staff, one of the key performance indicators might be that you get a 5-star review after every call because the client's really happy, or you deliver outstanding service. Now, these are difficult KPIs to monitor, because how do you monitor that? Obviously, I've said the review thing. Yes, they get a 5-star review, fine. But if you don't have that and you're saying you want them to deliver X and there's no real way to monitor that, it's quite hard. So my basic key performance indicators that I'm about to implement in my business is how much money the guys are bringing in. And I'm doing it on a per team basis. And essentially, the way I worked it out was, we sat down and we worked out staff cost, the vehicles, and a percentage of fixed costs. So that is all your overheads that are not going to go away, that you can't put into a job. So it's not like you're a hire of a digger or dumper. You can't put it in there. It's things like marketing. It's things like me, my salary. It's Annmaree, her salary. It's anything that is a fixed cost, rent, the yard space, all of these things. So essentially, I put a percentage across the 4 teams. Now, I currently have what is 2.5 hard landscaping teams and a soft landscaping team, and then I have the designer. And what I've basically worked out was, okay, so for the designer, the costs that come under him as a team is his wages, his vehicle, and a percentage of the fixed costs. hard landscaping team is the hard landscaping cost of labour, the van, and a percentage of the cost. You get where I'm going? And it will be different depending on how many people are in a team. Like I said, it's 2.5. So I've worked it as two hard landscaping teams, but really they could go to 3 as needed because we have 3 skilled people there. But essentially, it's about proportioning how much of the cost should go to each team and then saying how much do you want to make on that. So for me, I just added, I think it was 50%. So it was whatever the cost was plus 50% equals their key performance indicator. And that is the money I want them to bring in. Now, the point of this is, so for instance, each hard landscaper team needs to bring in £20,000. Say the designer needs to bring in £5,000. It literally means that I can set these out, which I'll talk about in a second. I can set them out to the teams, and if they fall short, then it's a conversation like, 1, how can we get this up? Is it a marketing thing? Is there anything you want to try marketing wise, or is there an event, or can we do something different? The second thing is, if they're not able to hit that target, then why? And essentially that falls to the manager. So for me, Mike is the manager of the hard landscaping teams, Sean is a soft landscaping team, and I tend to be the designer manager. So that's up to me and Mike and Sean to manage that. And that's up to us to think about efficiency, to think about planning, project managing, planning the jobs in, looking at the calendar, looking at we've got coming up, what we've got outstanding in quotes that we want to get across the line in order to fill the diary to hit those key performance indicators. And essentially, it's quite a negative thing, but the reason you can obviously utilize them is if people continue to fall short and they do not change their behavior in order to bring it up, then unfortunately it becomes an employment issue and a HR issue and a potentially losing a job issue. Now, when I worked in sales, I was a sales manager in a gym. I loved my job because, 1, I loved selling. I loved earning commission. I was massively driven by money. I loved the team I worked with. We all got on really well. And I loved the gym and fitness. So it was an easy sell for me to sell someone a gym membership, a lifestyle change. Now, what I always employed there was if the salespeople, now these are they are salespeople, so they should be able to sell something or anything. If they're unable to sell, and after a number of interventions, then it would be 3 strikes and you're out. If you can't hit your target, then you are not a salesperson, and I don't want you in my team. I want someone who can hit targets all the time. Because essentially, while I was in that role as sales manager, we never missed target because there is no actual way I would miss out on my commission. That meant everything to me. So if it meant I needed to make a change in the team, I would. If it meant I had to get on the phones with the team and have a bit of a competition with them mid-month, I would. If it meant I had to think out the box with marketing and get some more marketing budget, I would. At the end of the day, for me, hitting target was the most important thing in my life at that time. I just need to hit target, make the money, get on to the next month. And again, like I said, I didn't miss target for the whole time I was in that role. And I was in there for, I think it was 18 to 20 months in the end before I went off and worked in magazine sales. And essentially, the reason is because they had very clear key performance indicators. So I could manage their performance, and therefore that would impact on my performance, because if I have someone who's slacking and they're not hitting their key performance indicators, the likelihood is I'm not going to hit mine, and then I'm going to be pissed. So essentially I had to manage them, and it meant that I was quite harsh. If they did not make the required quota of calls, appointments or sales, then they were as good as useless to me. I had people that were really nice and chatty, but they didn't want to phone people. They wanted to be what we would call on outreach, giving out leaflets all the time. Now there's a time and place for that. And every day we would give out flyers. We'd go around the town centre. We would not knock on doors, but leaflet doors. But I always rotated it round, because ultimately the way you're going to make sales if you are in that office for walk-ins, for appointments and for calls. So it was really harsh. But essentially, it meant I had a winning team all the time, because if they weren't hitting their targets, they were gone. I found someone who could. And therefore, as a team, we hit our targets as a whole. Everyone got commission. Everyone was happy, most of all me. And this is the point in why you need to manage your staff and the performance of your staff. So many times, particularly in landscaping, and I've been in landscaping and helping Mike run this business for 14 years now. And I've never seen key performance indicators being used. I've never seen a very well managed performance reviews of people, because generally we forget to do the appraisals. It's not that important. If you're on the tools yourself, it means you've got to take some time out. You've got to pull your team off. You're not earning money. If it's busy, we need staff. The staff pool isn't there. It's not like me finding a new sales guy, quite easy to find. Finding a skilled landscaper is very difficult. So you often don't want to have those difficult conversations in case they leave and leave you in this shit. I get all that. But at the end of the day, if you want your business to excel and be successful, you need to manage the performance of your team and your business. And that means setting some important key performance indicators and also reviewing your business financials and knowing your numbers on a regular basis. If you just bury your head in the sand, you're going to be in trouble. And the second thing I wanted to mention was how you deliver those key performance indicators. I've now got some clear key performance indicators that I need to give to my team. And that means I'm going to have to do individual meetings with the managers of each team or the team leaders of the team. And then I'm going to have to do a team meeting to make sure it's embedded within the organization. And then it just becomes a process. And then I have to look at how I'm going to review it, what it's going to be based on, etc., etc. Now, for me, it's all based on finances and sales, so I can easily look at that on a regular basis. I can look at it halfway through the month. Annmaree, my right-hand woman, will pull off the reports and let me know where each team are at. And then it's up to me to let the managers know so they can let their teams know, so they can either get on it or not and manage them to success. And then also it falls back to me, because if the reason they're not hitting their targets is due to a marketing function or a leads function, then it has to go back to me to look at my marketing strategy and to implement change there. So as a whole, this should effectively help grow my business better. It should improve the profitability. It should improve the sales. And essentially, it should add that extra element of systems and processes being put into place, which at the point that I want to step out of this business, someone else can step in and continue this going forward. So that's all I've got to say on the matter, but I think it's very important. I think you guys need to think about how you could do this. You might not want to do it in the same way, but what could you do to manage your own performance, your staff's performance, and the business performance as a whole? So have a think about that. If you've got any questions, please email me, paula@thelandscaperscoach.co.uk. If you've got any questions, let me know. And if you love this podcast, please leave a review. I will love you forever. Okay, guys, I will see you on the next episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast.